Hello everyone and welcome to another News Coolum video. I'm here with the 2023 Chevrolet Bolt EUV Redline. Now, I didn't actually plug this car in. I got it a few days ago. Haven't really had a chance to drive it yet, so it's just sort of parked in the driveway. But I did hook it up to the charger this morning, and one of the sort of unspoken benefits of this newer version of the Bolt EUV is they now have that onboard, I believe it's a 48 amp charger, I believe. I think it's technically the 11 kilowatt charger. And the reason I say it's sort of an unspoken benefit is for a lot of people, this car is more of a leisurely road trip car, or you need to precondition, that sort of thing. And so having a 10 plus kilowatt onboard charger, 11 kilowatt onboard charger means that this 64-ish kilowatt hour battery pack will charge from empty to full in about 6 hours, which is really good. This is just sort of a long-winded intro because I'm going to go on a Sunday drive, a sort of a day trip. Now, we do have atmospheric river, there's flooding and things like that. I have my phone hooked up to navigation, so I'll have to see if the Android Auto works directly with this. Mine has to be wired. My phone cannot use the wireless charging pad. It's not equipped for it. So the Bolt EUV does come with a wireless charging pad as well as the USB ports. And then hopefully we can navigate where we need to go. I need to do some shopping, I need to do some banking, and I need to do some testing of this car, check out some of the chargers, see how it drives, see how Super Cruise holds up. Yeah, we're burning daylight savings time, so I lost an hour. So let's hit the road. All right, so as we're driving down, we're going through some rural ag country right now. Where I believe technically, it's a Highway 45 right now. This route is actually multiple minutes shorter, or I should say longer than if we were to go I-5. It's no longer showing that route because I chose this one. But I-5 would have cut off nearly a half hour from this trip that we're making. Technically though, and see, you can even see it's coming up right now, 15 minutes faster if we had gone, if we go route back and get on I-5 again. But I'm taking this route because it takes us also, well, one, I want to grab lunch on the way, and there aren't really chargers where I'm going to grab lunch anyway. I might want to look for my bank and just get that out of the way before the ultimate destination here is just to, spoiler alert, we're heading to the Tesla Supercharger that's been opened in Placerville. So that one is well within our battery range, but this takes us along, I already know I-5 is mapped, but this takes us along Highway 20 and Highway 99. Which, when I looked at the Super Cruise map, I believe those roads are mapped. So here we are on Highway 20. This is a route that's supposed to be mapped. Actually, got a decent amount of headwind right now, so who knows how that will play into efficiency. But this section here is a divided highway. Now, it's saying no Super Cruise information available. So I'll have to check back in again. Like I said, I know this section was mapped, but we might still technically be in the city of Cruisin. So as we exit out of here, and there's road work for the next 2 miles, so I'll just keep occasionally testing the system just to see if it picks up at some point. And now someone else did mention that the Super Cruise map might be updated for the newer version of Super Cruise, not the older version that went in the Bolt EUV. And if that's true, then the map on like the Cadillac website for Super Cruise won't actually match what you're able to use in something like the Bolt EUV. Well, this is unfortunate. We're coming over what's called Sutter Bypass, and this is basically what the halfway point, more or less, between Colusa and Yuba City on Highway 20. And like I said, this is a road that, according to the Super Cruise map on the Cadillac website, is mapped for Super Cruise. So what's possible is that this Bolt EUV, the version of Super Cruise that it has, isn't updated with the most current maps. All right, well, quick stop here in Yuba City. I got all the banking done. I took a quick lunch here at In-N-Out, and we're ready to get back on the road again. This is onto Highway 99, though, so in theory, again, Super Cruise is mapped for this, but it's possible that the Bolt EUV doesn't have the most up-to-date mapping. I wanted to grab lunch here, too, just because I looked at the Supercharger site ahead of time. Didn't have a lot of great lunch options or anything else that I would want, even if we're basically an hour and 15 minutes from there now. And so it would have been too late to eat lunch anyway. Should be good on charge, have estimated about 109 miles minimum, and it's only 82 miles away. But conditions aren't great right now, but they are what they are. So let's hit the road and maybe see if we can get Super Cruise working. Otherwise, we'll start testing out some chargers. All right, well, we are pretty far along on Highway 99 at this point, and still no Super Cruise, and this is a divided highway. If this is simply a matter of map updates, I've heard people talk about, this requires a subscription to maintain Super Cruise over time. If you're asking people to pay a couple $1,000s up front for Super Cruise, and I'm not saying anything about whether that's reasonable or not. I mean, I know there's a lot of additional hardware. The Bolt EV, Bolt EUV is a value budget vehicle, right? So there's probably not a whole lot of margins to allow for, that much equipment, right? So $2,000, $2,200, I think, is what the Monroney says. Seems like a perfectly valid ask for the hardware and the features and the capability that come with Super Cruise. But especially if there's some sort of a subscription after the first 3 years, things like that, those maps need to be updated. And the Bolt, even if you're not going to give the Bolt EUV additional functionality like automatic lane changing and things of that nature, at least updating the maps seems like it needs to be a definite for sure, right? I can't imagine paying a subscription for a service where the maps aren't regularly updated to the most current updated information. All right, so this is interesting. I was going to bring the video up anyway because the message changed. I didn't have the video playing at the time, but instead of road not mapped or anything else, it just said Super Cruise unavailable. And I turned on the camera, try it again, and then it just went green. So it's only about a 10-mile section of Highway 99 after it merges back with Highway 70. So we only have this 10-12 mile strip here between 99 and I-5 where it's now engaged, it's now connected. So, and this is the area where Highway 99 really does kind of turn into an actual freeway, right? And this is fully divided. My guess is this is probably one of the sections that was mapped earlier. Like I said, I think the Bolt EUV's Super Cruise mapping is just not as refreshed or not as updated. That would allow it to map out these roads. So this is pretty cool. Still on Highway 99, haven't got on I-5 yet. I don't know if it will take like the interchange or anything else, and I might have to be driving manually anyway, depending on what lane I need to be in. But yeah, so here we go, just driving, no problem, hands-free, keeping my eyes on the road, and Super Cruise is at it again. Get on Highway 50, make sure this right lane isn't obstructed anywhere, and yeah, so this is the route to South Lake Tahoe, so hopefully there's not as much traffic on here. Alright, so we should be good to be on now. This is a road construction area too, but yeah, I hit the switch with adaptive cruise control on, and yeah, it just went right back onto Super Cruise. So it seems like it knows what it's doing. It's managing just fine. But I don't want to be in this lane, so I'm going to move over. Now I'm in the center lane. And it's back on again. So that took a little while longer to catch up, but not that long. It figured it out pretty quickly. We're pacing right behind a semi. And yeah, it's Super Cruise is doing great on Highway 50 too. So yeah. Oh, what the heck? Super Cruise caution. Construction zone, drive with care. It's not giving up the wheel. Okay, now it is. Now it is. So it does not like the fact that we're in a construction zone. It left adaptive cruise control on, but it wants me to take over. So, and if I press it, Super Cruise, yeah, it can't, sensors can't find the lines. And I think that's because this work construction zone. So that's fine. It gave me a warning, let me know. A little message popped up, and then the steering wheel light turned red. So overall, I think that's pretty good. So, and I mean, I don't blame Super Cruise. I'm actually having difficulty myself seeing the lines right now. In fact, I think this person, okay, something looked odd. I think the person in front of us was actually splitting a lane, and so it wasn't just me. It wasn't just Super Cruise. Yeah, the person in front of us was splitting the lane, so it made it look like there were 3 lanes when there were only actually 2. All right, so we're here at the Placerville Supercharger. This is one that's been unlocked for non-Tesla EV owners to use. All right, here we are. Okay, so here we are. I'm gonna give it permission. It knows we're here. So I already have my my payment set up. Notice it's quite expensive. So let's go here. Let's get started. All right. So we're on 2D. So So it wasn't set up all the way. It had to put it in. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and 2D it and then unlock it and go. All right. So undock, push the handle in after plugging in, 2 minutes to start. So let's go. So that came out pretty easily. It latched in. And so I did everything that it's asking. Now let's see. Now it does say it could take up to 2 minutes to start, which is a long time. We'll see. It looks like it's finally initializing. And now it's finally charging. So here we go, looking at it through the app. Hopefully yeah, this took a very long time to initiate and start charging. So we'll see. Let's see. Let's see if it can increase speed at all. Yeah, so it looks like it's just sitting pretty steady at 51 kilowatt. So, you know, this is one of those things where my recommendation for GM, which has apparently fallen on deaf ears, but they really needed to update the Bolt EUV and EV to have at least a 200 amp charging socket, charging harness, because even Hyundai and Kia with the Niro EV, the Kona electric, they actually updated their charging even more. So instead of just a 200 amp charging socket, they now actually can accept more than 200 amps. And again, these are roughly the same size batteries. And so if GM really wanted to, I don't want to say push the Chevrolet Bolt EV, because you're never going to get with this type of battery that fast of charging, but increasing the charging rate by 10%, 15%, almost 20%, which is well within reason for the battery's chemistry, the cell configurations, all of that, that'd be a huge benefit. And my assumption is GM thought, well, you know, it just wouldn't be enough of a benefit. But when you consider that you're saving your customers probably on average 5 to 10 minutes per charging stop, how much is your customer's time worth? Now, I know most people who buy a Chevrolet Bolt EV or EUV aren't going to be heavy DC fast charge users, but some of them are. Not just for road trips, but also if you live in an apartment where you don't have charging at home, don't have dedicated off-street parking where you can charge, then you might be reliant on the public charging infrastructure just sort of at a regular cadence, right? Using chargers at your grocery stores or places that you typically stop and shop or eat or whatnot. And if that's the case, again, you have to ask yourself, well, how much is your customer's time worth? And even if you wanted to pass that on, right, and maybe you don't know how much your customer's time is worth, but they do. So at least offer a $500 upgrade to a 200 amp CCS charging harness with increased charging speed. And I mean, I've also mentioned this before, but one of the other aspects of it is, I mean, it's a pretty nice day today, but if you can't pull a full 200 amps through that CCS charge port, even if the battery is only accepting 150 amps, it means there's no throughput left to run cabin conditioning, battery conditioning, other things of that nature. So having that extra headroom in terms of capacity that can flow through the CCS socket is just a benefit all the way around. So it's 2023. This is likely the last or near the last production years for the Bolt and the Bolt EUV. It's a great value vehicle, but I am disappointed, right? Because that's such low-hanging fruit that even as an option, all of this other stuff, you have a Redline trim option, you have the Sun and Sound option, you have the Super Cruise option. All of those things are great, but with a car like this, it needs to at least be able to charge at its stated 1C rate, especially under 50% battery. It should be charging at somewhere between 60 and 70 kilowatt, bare minimum, under 50% battery. And the fact that that doesn't happen consistently, regularly, often, that's a real problem. So, yeah, I mean, there doesn't seem to be any sort of interoperability with the Bolt EUV and the Tesla Superchargers. They're working great. So kudos to Tesla. They just need to open up some other units. I'm going to have a separate video talking about the Superchargers and how they're open, and what I think about it, because there are issues. And then who knows? Maybe I'll do a site review. So, but overall, as far as this trip is concerned, a successful stop at the Superchargers. We made it here no problem. I have to be aware of my time too, and of course, charging at the Superchargers isn't cheap, so I have to be aware of, you know, how much energy I'm consuming as well. I'm gonna do some more shooting, and then let's get ready to head out. All right, and back on Super Cruise. Yeah, I think that Placerville Supercharger is much better as a westbound than it is as an eastbound charger. So, yeah, overall though, good experience. It did take quite a long time to activate initially, with not as much feedback as I would have liked from the app end, and there was really just nothing on the car end. So I wonder if a lot of that might have simply been the Tesla app having to validate and verify my payment information first. Just assuming, right? Because they didn't have my updated address or billing address, which I should say it never asked for when I put in my payment information. So I put in my payment information, including the security code for my credit card, and I did that, I don't know, probably a few days ago, maybe a week ago. And so they had my payment information for a while, but when I put that in there, it didn't at any point ask for my billing address. So simply my zip code and my security code on the back of my car, but no billing address. And so before I was able to charge or activate this charger, it required me to then put in my actual billing address. So that was a little bit of a slowdown in the charging activation process for the Superchargers, but I'm just going to chalk that up right now to first time use. And that, along with, like I said, it's nearly a 2-minute activation time to get the charger to finally start feeding power to the car. So just assuming that that's just the first time use, and that subsequent uses with the Supercharger would offer significant improvements in activation time, like what I've seen with some of the other EVs where they plugged in and it started charging
relatively quickly. This is a pretty significant rainfall right now. Pretty limited visibility, and Super Cruise is doing all right. Let's see. Make sure I'm a little bit over the posted speed limit for adaptive cruise control, so it catches up a little bit better. But yeah, we're just following along behind the car in front of us, and it did lose visibility for a second, but I'd have to go back and check. This might or might not have been an area that was mapped. So yeah, see, it is losing it a little bit in this rain. So definitely an aspect of it that I think is due to visibility and the sensors not being able to pick up where it is on the road.
All right, well, I wanted to stop here, not because I needed to charge, but I just wanted to test it out. This is one of my favorite chargers, just in terms of the way it was deployed, the way it was planned out, you know, where it is. It's on I-80 between San Francisco and Sacramento. And there are 4 paired ChargePoint Express 250 units here at a 7-Eleven. I mean, really, the only thing that you could ask more for is to have covers on these chargers. And just as I pulled in, sure enough, a Kia Niro EV. I'm doing halfway the Europe, halfway the North America thing, Niro EV. But yeah, Kia Niro EV pulled in. One of the, you know, I think they made some significant improvements, Kia did, on the design. Still trying to see if I can get one of those to review too, the newer ones. They, like I'd mentioned also, they had upped the charging speed on it for the newer models too. So that was a real nice uplift for Kia. But anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to, you know, part of this is just testing interoperability, making sure the different chargers work. This ChargePoint Express 250 started up right away, really quick. I mean, realistically, I can make it home with the amount of battery I have left. This has been a relatively short drive, probably going to be less than 300 miles total for the whole day, which, you know, with conditions and all of the things that I need to do, I think that's reasonable. But anyway, like I said, I just wanted to stop here, check this one out, because I don't know if I'll have the chance to test out another ChargePoint Express anywhere else along this route, depending on which way I go. But yeah, we only have 13 miles to go to the grocery store, and it's 23 minutes. So yeah, I actually had to bail on the other Trader Joe's because the line was too long. But anyway, that's all I wanted to do. Just wanted to stop in, test it out, check it out, and yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and end the session and hit the road. All right, well, I got my shopping done here in Trader Joe's in Davis, near the, I guess, UC Davis. So now I just have to start mapping my way back home. I was on Highway 113. It's sort of a connecting highway between I-5 and I-80. But it doesn't look like that one is mapped for Super Cruise. Yeah, let's just get ready to head out.
So we're here on Highway 113. Before, I wasn't able to get Super Cruise to work on it, but it's working on it now. And then one thing I did notice is, so there is a bit of a warning when I reached down to grab the camera and pick it up. The Super Cruise system started to blink green. So either it just didn't see me, or didn't see my line of sight, or didn't see that I was watching the road, or whatever. So the simple act of leaning over, grabbing something to pick it up was enough that it, you know, what, the green started to flash. So it does have a little bit of a warning if you take your eyes off the road, or if it doesn't think that you're paying attention or tracking well enough. So there is a blinking green light, but that was it. Otherwise, it's been operating well, and even on this sort of connecting highway between Interstate 5 and Interstate 80.
Quick stop here in Dunnigan. there's a Rivian R1S that was leaving as we pulled in. And let me check the app again. It might only show my session. Yeah, okay, so a couple of things that I was going to say is I know a lot of people who rely on the Electrify America app to tell them whether their chargers are open and available. And I have found that it's not always accurate, because right now the app is showing that one of the 350 kilowatt chargers is not available, but they're both open and they both appear to be functioning. There's no error message. The screen is up. The screen is responsive. And so I don't know, maybe what's happening is the app isn't refreshing fast enough, and so it's possible that Rivian was on one of the 350 kilowatt chargers. I don't know. But either way, from what I can see, every charger at this Dunnigan site is up and working, and I can verify that the 150 kilowatt charger 4 is working. And, my method for starting, and I don't know if it's right or not, because I think sometimes it might go against what Electrify America says, but for me, I've had pretty much 100% or close to 100% first time activation success rate on Electrify America over the last 3 or 4 months. And what I do is I plug in, let the charger and the car do their handshake, and then I swipe the activation in the app. It gives me a time to pull the app out, bring the charger up, all of that too. But it just seems to keep both the app and the charger from hanging if you let that handshake happen first. So this time was no exception. I plugged in, let the handshake happen, swiped the app, and the initiation process started. The initialization process started almost immediately, loaded up, and charging at 52, 53 kilowatt right now. So the app has it up right now, 52, 53 kilowatt, started, almost immediately. So I don't know. I haven't had any issues. I'm going to take a second to answer a few texts and messages that I got, and then we're just going to get back on the road again. It's already starting to rain. Can't really do a whole lot of filming without the camera's getting wet. So yeah, let's just charge up for a few minutes and then head out.
All right, and yeah, Super Cruise just starts automatically. I just took the maps out, the navigation out of the maps. I'm not really needing any sort of guidance at this point. But yeah, I do want to go through Willows. I actually need to pick something up at Walmart, so I'll probably top up there a little bit too if it's available. And then, like I said, I want to test out the Caltrans charger. So this is actually something that I did want to test. I didn't drive over this before. For those of you who are familiar with Interstate 5, we're heading into Arbuckle. And Arbuckle has a sort of unique geometry to the freeway here, where it's a pretty significant turn into almost an overpass, down below an underpass, and then back up again. And it's actually a tricky thing to drive. So I'm actually going to keep my hands pretty close to the steering wheel. In fact, those weren't even painted lines on that road here. Yeah, we're gonna come up around, going around the band. Yeah, so as you can see, it arches over here, and it's even slowing down a bit, because this is technically, they advise you to slow down around this corner and then come back down again. So it's this an interesting sort of curvature to the road, and then down below an overpass, and then yeah, so it did it quite well, and we caught up to the semi in front of us.
All right, well, we're here at the Maxwell rest stop. I want to test out this Caltrans BTC power charger. before I finish the rest of this trip. And, this is a big risk, and I'm calling out Caltrans on this because last time I used this charger, it bricked my car to the point that I wasn't sure that I was actually going to be able to get my Bolt EV started again, and I was going to end up being stranded here in the middle of the night at the rest area, right, at a poorly lit rest area. And I think Caltrans, personally, they should probably just go to someone like FreeWire and get one of those, their boost chargers that can run off of a really low power supply and still output over 100 kilowatt, split power between two charging stalls. It's going to cost them more money up front, but it's going to save them a lot of time and effort and issues long term. But even without that, these BTC Power L3R units, if they're bricking cars, like as a government agency, Caltrans or the state government, California state government, they need to draw the line when their equipment starts actually breaking consumers or travelers' cars, right? When that happens, someone needs to figure out what's going on and correct that issue. So no dice. Charger started to initiate, and at least that didn't brick this car, right? But it tried to initiate and then failed. So this has been broken for months and months and months now. And like I said, it even got to the point where it actually nearly bricked my Bolt EV, my personal vehicle. So imagine you're driving along with your family and you're getting low on range. You pull into a rest area because it makes sense and it's going to get you enough range to make it to the next charger or wherever. And you're here with your family and you plug in and you're stranded, right? You can't go any farther. Need to call a tow truck. And this is a charger that was installed with government money by, government officials, and it doesn't work. It's a waste of public funds. So, Caltrans, you need to fix it. I don't know what it is about this specific BTC Power unit, the L3R. It's been pretty much a bulletproof charger for me, in my experience, when implemented by other charging providers. So something that happened between those charging providers and BTC Power got it to the point that those chargers were working, that they were functional. And whatever that difference is, you need to figure it out and apply it here, because right now this charger isn't working from what I've seen on PlugShare for a decent number of EV owners. And it's something that's likely to get people stranded in the middle of nowhere, Highway 395, I-5, locations where people travel, and there are big gaps between support, and a publicly funded charger doesn't even operate. That's a problem. So anyway, I've spent enough time on this. Let's hit the road. All right, well, we're here in Willows. I just pulled into the Electrify America charger. I used the 150 kilowatt last time with this car, so I'm going to go ahead and use the 350 kilowatt this time, the one that the Transit was using. I just need to run in and grab some stuff quickly from the store. I could probably make it home just on what I have left, but might as well be productive, charge up a little bit. That way I don't have to charge up as much at home. And then also, again, just test out the different chargers, make sure 150, and plus that 150 kilowatt was reduced power, which I know people say, oh, well, the Bolt EV charges so slow. But when these higher power CCS chargers derate, they usually derate to 100 amp, which is why even a Chevrolet Bolt EV owner is going to notice the difference. It's basically like charging on a 40 kilowatt charger at that point. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use this 350 kilowatt charger. No reason not to. Nobody's here. And then run in really quick and grab some stuff. Hopefully I can get in and out of the store in maybe 15, 20 minutes tops. So, time me. Fudge. So, yeah, there you go. It's starting to rain. That was a quick 18-minute session on that 350 kilowatt charger. I was still charging at 54 kilowatt when I turned it off. So one thing I will note, maybe it's the temperature, maybe it's some more or less gentle driving. But this 2023 Bolt EUV has had a lot more consistent charging than what I saw when I reviewed the 2022. So maybe they smoothed it out, maybe they listened to that feedback and at least got the charging curve right. But like I said, I wish we at least still had an option for like a 200 amp CCS socket. But anyway, I think I'm going to close it off right here. I'm probably going to call this video something like super cruising to supercharging, and see how much I can pare it down. It would be pretty long otherwise. Maybe there'll be a director's cut version that's like a 4-hour theatrical release. But yeah, I think that's it. Let me know what you think. I mean, it's a little bit disappointing that Super Cruise isn't working on some of the rural highways that are, according to the thing, mapped, but just maybe not updated in the Bolt EUV. But otherwise, supercharging worked great. All of the chargers worked great that I used. I mean, still nothing beats the ChargePoint Express activation time. There's literally like just seconds before the thing initiated and just a few more seconds after that before power was flowing. The Supercharger was a little bit slower initiation than I thought it would be, but that might be a billing issue, something of that nature. Electrify America started up perfectly. First time, both times, using that method that I talked about where I plug the charger in first and then I wait for the handshake and then I actually initiate through the app. The other thing is too, there is a charger down here at Willows, the one with the Chademo, so I'll put in a ticket for that. But the app on Electrify America is not representative of what I'm seeing at the actual chargers, where the chargers are displayed as up and available. The app is showing them as unavailable. So I don't know if it's just a delay. I don't know what would happen if I plugged into one of those unavailable chargers. Would it then become available in the app? I'm not sure. I don't have time to test all of that out right now. All I can say is if you're only looking at the app to determine what the station statuses are for Electrify America, I don't think it's accurate. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to hit the road. It's raining. I have some frozen stuff in the back. I have some things I need to, some hot chocolate packets to deliver. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions or if you, if there's anything you're interested in that you want me to cover with the Bolt EUV while I have it. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and thank you for watching.